What's going on, guys? It's your boy Bugs coming at you with a video. Actually, my first deck profile. Um, I have been playing One Piece TCG since about a month after it came out. I started a little late. I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh! I ended up selling basically the majority of my collection to fund my One Piece. And yeah, I've been a local level player uh, over here in Long Island, New York. And honestly, I love the game. I got into it because I'm such a huge fan of the show. Shout out to Oda Sensei. He is a genius, absolute genius. Um, I transitioned to the game. In the beginning, it was a little bit of a harder transition. Set one, I didn't really do well at all. I did get a couple tops. I think I won one event. Set two is really when I found my footing. Uh, OPO2, I played a lot of Kinemon. And from set one, I was always a Kaido main. I played Kaido. The thing is, I guess I wasn't really always that lucky. You know, Kaido's all about luck. But honestly, that is the deck we're here to talk about today. I went undefeated at my locals recently in this op04.5, I guess we're going to call it, meta. And yeah, we got our boy Kaido. This deck is just one of my all-time favorites. One of my favorite characters in the show, and the new support from the new starter deck, the Ultimate Starter deck, which I will say is an insane product, is so good. The foiling on the main cards in the set are beautiful, and the fact is that everything comes foil. It's pretty cool. Basically, this deck has gotten a huge buff. It has gotten a lot better. Still, you live and die by Onigashima. But if you don't see Onigashima, we still have ways to play, and it's still pretty good. Luckily for me, I saw Onigashima in every game. In one game, I did see it a little late. Let me think. I was at 6 Dawn. I played Lead Performer Disaster, ramped an active Dawn, drew a card. The card I drew was Onigashima. I played Onigashima, ramped again, and the next turn I was at 10 Dawn, and my opponent was just like, what? And basically, you just start dropping bombs on people. And the deck has decent defense. So basically, I'm just going to get into this profile. All right. And yeah. All right, guys. So we are going to start off with the blockers. I'm going to break it down, just basically the different sections of the deck. Blockers, I go with 10 blockers. I think that's pretty good. I feel comfortable with that. There's going to be one card that I'm going to explain as to why I don't run a full playset. But yeah, so we're going to start off with the low drop. So we're going to start off with 4 Kurozumi Higurashi. Basically just our trump blocker, but the beauty of this card is that you can actually use it aggressively. There's no point in playing Black Maria or Domino. They cost the same. They have the same amount of counter, but they're just weaker. You know, sometimes if you just want to pressure your opponent, you can just throw 2 down on this, and yeah, you get a nice 5k swing. And they have to clear it anyway, so it's still getting the purpose of a blocker. So you get extra value out of this card if you choose to don it up. If you have nothing else to do, don it up, swing, then they swing into it, and it's still blocking an attack. Which is technically free, unless of course they have like a searcher or something they attack it with, which either way it's fine. All right, next card. We're going to go into 2 of the new Trafalgar Law from the starter deck. This is the card that I was going to say is controversial. I know a lot of people want to see it at 4. I've seen some people playing at 3. I played at 2. The main thing with this card is that, like, in the beginning, when it first comes out, you can catch people off guard. But in my locals in particular, or my like area, people are playing around this card left and right. At that point, it's a 4 or 5 blocker, and it doesn't really always feel good to just sit there and waste a dawn to play this. So I decided to drop it. I played it at 3, and then it felt even more comfortable at 2. And again, it worked out perfectly fine. I'll go over my matchups later on, but yeah, I went 3-0 at my locals. It's not a lot, but again, the deck felt really nice. And the last blocker, of course, like You know him, you love him. We got Queen. Four of course. Unfortunately, some people didn't get into the game early on, and they're having a lot of trouble getting this card. This card is insanely expensive for no reason. Um, when I started the game, like I said, I played Kaido, so I've had these bad boys. They've been with me through thick and thin. Great card. All right, the next section is going to be the 2K counters. So we are going to start off with four Sasuke. Sasuke is great. Does it feel really good to play it? 90% of the time it's a 2K counter, but if you don't see your Onigashima and you're desperate, you can play this card. It is an egg one to get the ramp, but you do still get the ramp. Most of the time, I just hope that things play out and, you get there eventually. But like I said, you can play it. It's a good body. Zoro's not really that big, so having bodies on the board like for that type of situation isn't as important. But again, if you do run into a random Zoro, yeah, you play this down so you can get rid of their weenies and you get the ramp. All right. Next up, we have Khalifa. Not only is she gorgeous, but she is extremely useful. She's basically a queen effect. Certain decks, like yellow, for example, can't really easily remove this card. If you're up against blue, if you're up against a deck with like removal, like black or even red, you might not want to play this. You want to just keep it as a 2K counter. But in some instances, if you don't have anything better to do, she is a good body to play. And the next turn, she will give you value. She'll give you a +1 because you get to draw two, trash one. You get some filter. Anybody who plays purple knows one of the biggest issues with it is the fact that it can be very bricky. So just another way to filter is great along with your queen. You can even get turns where you set this up the turn before you play the queen, like on 4 dawn, and on 6 dawn you play the queen, you draw two, you trash one, you swing with her, you draw two, trash one, and it just feels really good. The last 2K counter is, of course, X Drake. Absolutely love this card. In the past, I actually have played iterations of Kaido that focus on using X Drake and Jack to make your opponent discard cards. It feels really good. Right now, a lot of these decks, they basically have a lot of card advantage. They build up big hands, and unless actually now I think about it, no, they're playing around the law. So now, yeah, this card is even better because people are playing around law. So they don't really have a lot of cards, and when you're trying to close out a game, you can play this, get a really good body, and reduce their hand to make your attacks easier to get through. And for the most part, most of your swingers, you don't have to invest Dawn into them to swing. So you play this, you get a card out of the hand, and you just swing, and you get more cards out of the hand, or you get life, or you get a blocker. So just a great card. Utility 2Ks are the best thing you can have, and purple has really good utility 2Ks. All right, next up, we're basically getting into the event portion of the deck. There's not too many, but there are some very key ones. Absolute four of off the bat is Gum Gum Jet Gatling. The next portion of the deck is going to be the bombs, and you're going to see that basically none of our bombs have counter on them. So this card actually comes in super clutch because it turns those cards basically into counter power and helps you get rid of some bricks and use them in a good way where you actually get to get out of those lazy 7K swings, because you will notice that sometimes people just they don't have the dawn to go super tall and they just want to get a 7K swing in, which is actually a good swing. It's not a bad idea to swing 7, but luckily this card gets us out of it and it lets us remove a brick from our hand. Um, the next card, absolutely love this card. Great ramp option for when you're going second, because sometimes you do want to go second. Lead Performance Disaster. It's best off trigger, but sometimes on 4 dawn you can play this card. It's a draw one, and then you add one Dawn from your Dawn deck as active. The fact that it's active is one of the key parts. Basically, in one of my matches, I didn't see Onigashima early, and I was, it was whatever. I was rolling with the punches. On 4 Dawn, I play this card. No, sorry, on 6 Dawn, I play this card. I draw. I get an active Dawn. The card that I draw happens to be Onigashima. So now I went from 2 active Dawn to 3 active Dawn, and I played the Onigashima. So we went from 6 to 7, from 7 to 8. Next turn we were at 10, and we were dropping bombs on our opponent. We were going to get to the bombs after that, but needless to say, I won that matchup. It was against Rebecca. And yeah, it felt really great. Love this card. Would I play more? Probably, but this deck is kind of tight. And the last card, it's not an event, it's actually our stage, but everybody knows it, everybody loves it, or you hate it. It's Onigashima. Either you see none, or you see 3 or a 4 in your hand opening. Not just kidding. But part of the reason why I won this event is because I either opened this or I saw it early enough for it to be significant. And basically, in 2 of my matchups, I opened it. In one of my matchups, I saw it with that combo using the Leap Performance Disaster. But yeah, the card is broken. Purple Luffy dominates because he's basically Onigashima at the cost of a life. So it's more consistency. You don't have to open this card. But Kaido is still deadly because if you do open this, guess what? You're basically Purple Luffy. You're dropping bombs, you're ahead of your opponent, you're playing cards like Magellan for free, like it gets crazy. So yeah, key card. I wish we can search it, but for some reason they gave the searcher to Blurple Kaido. They gave us a blue searcher, not a purple searcher, because they know that giving this deck a way to search Onigashima would be a huge mistake because of how powerful and impactful this card is. Do I want it? Yes, because the game is getting ridiculous. Cough, cough, Yamato. Alright guys, so the next portion of this video is going to be the bombs. Yeah, these are cards that all have no counter, but they are super strong, super impactful. You want to get them out of your hand as soon as you can. We're going to start off with Magellan. Love this card. Magellan is actually the deck that got me through op03 for the most part. I love that deck. Won plenty of events where they caught people off guard. No one expected it. The deck is amazing. Right now, I just prefer Kaido because Magellan's a little difficult to play because you minus so much Dawn, and sometimes it can get a little iffy. Kaido luckily has Onigashima, so if you play Onigashima and then you go into your Magellan, you're minusing your opponent's Dawn for free. Magellan, I mean, again, I haven't really been explaining the cards because a lot of these cards have been around for a while, so I assume a lot of people know what they do already. But everybody knows Magellan's a Dawn -1 on my side, Dawn -1 on your side. And on the KO during the opponent's turn, which is a key thing, basically they Dawn -2, so they go back an entire turn. I had an opponent in the event where he KO'd my Magellan with a Traino Bastardo off life because I played 2 Rebeccas. 2 of my matches were against Rebecca. So the second Rebecca, he got a Traino Bastardo off life. He KO's my Magellan, so he doesn't get Dawn -2. But I had a second Magellan on the board. On his turn, he Orlumbus into a Kyros to KO my Magellan. And then I was like, okay, Dawn -2. So I had already played 2 Magellans, so he had already Dawn -2. Then he Dawn minus another 2. And he was like, wait, what? Like, but he wasn't paying attention. Guys, know your cards, read your cards. He wasn't paying attention. He didn't realize that by KOing it, he would go back to Dawn. And yeah, I basically steamrolled him. Yeah, great card. This card is insane. And thank God it's not leader locked. Thank God it is a generic purple card. Absolutely powerful. Next, we have our boy, the second in command, the right-hand man to Kaido. We got our boy King. Absolutely love this card. Really good. Basically, going first, this card comes right after your Onigashima turn because you go from 3 to 4, then you come back at 6, and whatever they played is most likely dead. Thanks to this. In some situations, maybe if you're up against black, they have a Borsellino or something like that, you can't KO them, then you take a different line. But for the most part, playing this card is just a huge tempo play. You remove their card and you play a 7k body, which is the magic number. Even against red purple Luffy, you put a Dawn on him. Now you're hitting him for 8, and yeah, just a great card. Next, in the slot where I would normally have my 7-drop king, I decided to play Paulie. So I have 2 copies of Paulie. Paulie is a 5-drop, but he's actually a 7-drop because his on play ability requires you to use 2 Dawn. Let me see if I can get this. Sorry, guys. Yep, terrible. But yeah, there we go. Okay, so on play, you rest 2 Dawn, you add a Dawn from your Dawn deck, set it as active, which is amazing. Then, if you have 8 or more Dawn, which you would because you play them on 7, you KO a 4-drop. So it's basically 2 more copies of our king. A lot of decks are playing 4-drops. In particular, a deck that is on my radar, based on my locals, is Red Purple Law. So this card comes super handy in that matchup, and it's a really good card. He is definitely a flex spot. So like this can just be any other 2 bombs that you want. I was thinking about making this the 7-drop king, but I mean I think he's pretty dead sometimes. There honestly, yeah, there's a lot of different things you can put here. Um, you know, this could be Guilt of Sorrows. I was thinking about him. Yeah, just I like him, but definitely didn't really come up. Wasn't really super significant for my road to victory. Next, we have 4 of the new Eustace Kid. Guys, honestly, the camera does not do this card justice. The foiling on this new starter deck is amazing. 10 out of 10 Bandai, great product. I look forward to more product of this quality. The foiling is amazing. The effect is amazing. On play, Dawn -1, your leader gets plus 1k till the end of basically to your next turn. So it turns you into Whitebeard. It doesn't have cancer because you don't have to take a life. It is awesome. Super powerful, and if you can chain them, then it's even more deadly. Then you're going to 7k, 8k. Your opponent has to get rid of them. So if you're up against blue, obviously it's very easy for them because they have stuff like Mihawk and other stuff that could target 7 cost. The coming format, Sakazuki is definitely going to be an issue for this card. You don't expect him to stick, but at the very least, he has on play value. Any card that can give you immediate value is going to be good. Even if they remove it, you still got the value out of it. And yeah, he can become a really good attacker for 1 Dawn. He's swinging for 9, which is a great number. Love this card. It's amazing. Next up, we have 3 copies of the 9-drop Kaido. This card was definitely the MVP. I could see myself getting rid of a Paulie to put this at 4, and then maybe getting rid of another Paulie for another copy of the next card you're going to see. But yeah, great card. Pop a 5 cost, get rush. Great for controlling the board, or even just great for just pushing the game, just applying more pressure. Most of the time, they can't get rid of it. And the last card we have is 2 of the 10-drop Kaidos. I could definitely see this being at 3. This card is just insane. I had one player that I was up against who was playing Rebecca, a good friend of mine too. He was a little cocky. He was talking, and he was saying like, "Oh yeah, your Kaido can't KO this or that," and I was like, "It's all right." Because the next turn he can KO all of it and take you for your life. I got one guy with this. It was actually the second Rebecca player. The first Rebecca player I didn't need this, but the second Rebecca player I basically cleared his entire board and dropped this down, and I had 4 life. Like I won both those matches against Rebecca, by the way, at 4 life. And yeah, so dropping a 12 drop, a 12k 10 drop Kaido at 4 life feels absolutely amazing. You follow it up with blockers, you follow it up with more threats, and then you just close out the game. Honestly, for the most part, by the time you play this, you already have your opponent at 2 life. That's the goal. You want to get them to 2 life by the time you play this. So the next time you can do the kill combo, which doesn't come up as much. Actually, I didn't hit the kill combo once yesterday because right now it's a very blocker heavy format because everybody knows Katakuri is insane. So for the most part, everybody had blockers, but we still got there eventually. Um, but yeah, that is the deck, guys. Undefeated 3-0. I'm gonna definitely keep playing this and bring it to more. If you guys are interested in seeing the Doflamingo deck profile that I have, that one also won me a recent event. And that one has a really good win rate versus Katakuri right now. I've been doing really good with that deck. I have my record with it. I have gone no less than like X1. Um, and yeah, it's a great deck. I love Doflamingo. It's a combination of my two favorite colors. So if you guys want to see that, let me know down below. Otherwise, yeah, have a good one, guys. Peace out. I'll see you next time.